Video we're going to have a look at making this 3-column layout. So image, product information, and then the add to cart on the right. And we're going to do that without a plugin. We're just going to use the WooCommerce Hooks. You'll also see here that I have a plugin for swatches, and that is still working perfectly fine, and also one for size charts, and that still integrates and works fine even though I've changed the layout around. So to give you an idea of what we have in the shop, we have two different, well, this is our third layout. This is pretty much kind of like the standard layout. Then on the beanie, we just made a small cosmetic change. We moved the heading up and we just wrapped that with this background. And then the biggest change though has been to the t-shirt page. And that's what we're going to have a look at now. And that was to create this 3-column layout. So to get started, I need to just delete everything. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to head over to the Customize section. And in the Customize section, we have some styles that are related. So I think that would be all that. So I'm going to remove the styles. So once I remove the styles, you'll actually see things kind of go back to normal. And what you don't see here are the classes that are introduced. And you'll already see that with the 3-column layout, it's just a lot easier to see all the information, just presents in a different way. Then what I'm going to do is head over to my snippets. And this is the page with all these snippets. So we're not going to need any of that. So what I'm going to do is just save and deactivate. And then we're going to create a new page of functions to hook into the layout. So if we have another look here, you'll see we have and you'll see here that even though I've disabled that, we still have the beanie layout, and then I still have the layout on the music shop. So everything else remains. It's just that we're going to target that particular page. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do then is go over here and add a new snippet. And I'm just going to call this then Woo layout, and that'll be the t-shirt. Right, so we're going to target the t-shirt layout, and I'll just save those changes and activate even though there's nothing in there. And then the first thing we need to do, as usual, is just create the function. So it'll be function, and we'll call this by underscore t-shirt underscore layout. Let's call it t-shirt single layout. Right, so that's the layout. Right, and that's all that we need then. Just that's just the basic outline of the function. Now what we need to do is we need to target the page. So we want to, let's head over to the shop. I'm going to open up the t-shirt page, and now what we want to do is target this t-shirt page. So let's go to the other one with all the swatches. Right, so what we basically want to do to explain then is we want to, if we look at the classes on the page from a starting perspective, we have the image. So the image you can see is already kind of in its own column, and all of this is in this wrap over here. So basically what we want to do is we want to have the column here, the image here. Then what we want to do is the product information here. We basically want to just split that in two. So we want to have a the one section that looks at the product information, and then a second section that then separates out everything to do with adding to cart. So basically we want to make some classes, some divs, and we want to insert those divs into our layout. And then we're going to use some CSS, some flex styling to create the horizontal view. So before we start looking at the filters and the actions to change the layout, I just want to create the opening and closing divs. So to do that, we just go function by underscore opening underscore div, and this will be for the center column. Right, and then I'm going to create another function, and function bui underscore opening underscore div underscore, and this is going to be right, and this will be for the right hand column. And let's do that. Change that to function. So you'll see we're not doing anything massively interesting yet. And then over here, we're going to do the closing div, which will be function by underscore, and I'm just going to call it closing underscore div because that can apply to everything. And that's it. So the closing div is easy because we can just go echo div, and there we have the closing div. Then we need to make the opening div on the right. So we'll go echo and div and by dash right dash col wrap. So that'll be the wrap for the right hand column, and then I'm just going to copy that, and then over here we're going to have by right, and instead of right we'll go center column wrap. So there we have the divs that we're going to insert into the content. And now what we have to do is start looking at where we're going to implement those. So I'm going to save that. And now what we need to do is see where exactly we're going to put those. So first things first, we want to see what action we're going to target, and then we only want to apply that to the t-shirt page. So there are two parts to this. The first one is to target only the t-shirt. So we're going to say if the page that we're targeting has underscore term, and what is that term? It will be t-shirt. So if it has that term t-shirt, and what we're going to do is we're just going to wrap that in an array. So we're going to take that term and we're just going to put it in an array, and that would allow us to essentially add another term and add this to another single category, single product page in a different category, and then underscore product cat. So we're saying if the term t-shirt is in the product category terms, then we need to do something. And what are we going to do is we're going to target this div over here. So I've just added echo hello so that when we output the information, you'll actually see that we're in the right place. So to check that, I use a visual hook guide here on Business Bloomer, and what we want to target here is the section before the product title. So if I scroll down here, you'll see there's a hook from WooCommerce, which is single title, and that's the one that we're going to target. So then back here to my snippet, and if it has the term, then I'm going to target that area then above the title. So I'm just going to change that priority from a 5 to a 3. We'll save that. Now we'll head over and refresh, and now we should see the word hello appear on the page. If it doesn't appear, as that didn't, then we need to head back. And the reason it didn't show is because we also, besides targeting the page, we also need to add an action to our main function here. And that function now is add action. And we want to now hook into the WooCommerce underscore v4 underscore template underscore part. And we want to just wrap our function, or include our function in there. Let's give that a priority of 5, and we're done. So now this information here will actually be actioned. Before it wasn't actioned, there was nothing calling it into action. This calls it into action. Now we save, head over, and now when we rerun, you'll actually see there we have the word hello. So now we know that that's working, and we can now go ahead and kind of put up some kind of a structured layout here. So I'm going to take out the word hello. Right, so now if we have a look at our shop code, just going to go here to Polo. You'll see that there's our center column wrap. It's been inserted into the page, and I want it to end here after the summary. So if I go back to the visual hook guide and I look at the summary, so basically it's before the add to cart form. I want to end this one and start the next div. So I'm going to scroll down here and then look here for before add to cart form or temp after the excerpt. So I'm just going to go here with after the excerpt and then head back to my snippet and just add that in, and I want to put a closing div there. So I'm going to run the closing div. And the other thing that I want to do now, so I'm going to make that 25 because I want to do it, make sure that it happens after that closing div. And the next one that I want to do is I want to add another action. And in the next action, what I actually want to do is add the opening for the right-hand column. So now I'm going to put my function name in here, and that's going to create the opening. And then basically I want this to end say after the meta end. So I'm going to scroll down here and look for the end. So here we have the right column meta, the right column sharing. So I can have a look here and see where I'd like to end this. And let's have a look. Let's do it at the end of the meta. So let's do it, yeah. So let's do this WooCommerce product meta end. So we're going to copy that. And you'll see that the other actions that I added were add actions, and this says do action. Now do action means just run this. But what we actually want is an add action, so we can add our function name and set a priority. So we're simply going to add action, and then I know I'm going to add closing div. So it'll be comma, single inverted comma, and let's see, we know 10 is the default, so we'll make that 15, and that should then run after that. And we're ready to save. Right, so now that we've saved that, and I'm going to head over to the website now and refresh. And if we look at the code now, you'll see that we have the center column wrap, and we should also have the right column wrap. So if we look at our page, you'll see that the right column, that's correct, and the left column is everything that's in the left-hand column. This, the finest fabrics in the world, and also this, the rating and the layout comes from a previous hook that I created. And we'll just have a look and see. You'll see that we might want to change the styling, especially here of this, but I'll show you how to do that a bit later. Right, now what we need to do is get the layout into a horizontal layout. And to do that, we just need to look at a bit of styling. So to do that, the easiest way to demonstrate that is to head over to the Customize panel. And then what we also need to do now is analyze what's going on the page in terms of the styling. So we're just going to inspect, and now we can see that we have this, the center column wrap, and here you have this summary. So this summary, entry summary, is what summarizes everything in the right-hand column. So we're going to need that particular class. So over here, I'm just going to make a note so I know where I'm starting. And in here then we're going to start with that. And basically what we want to do is this summary, entry summary, we actually want to change the way it displays that information, the two columns. So we'll go display, and now we want to change the display to flex so that the items appear next to each other. So I'm going to just copy that and paste it in here on the left hand side. So now I have the the right hand column is working correctly. We have the two items next to each other, so that's great, but the image size, that's a little bit too big. So I'm going to inspect again, and so now I'm going to head up here to this particular item because I want to make this one a bit smaller. So I'm just going to copy that over, and I'm going to go display block. And then I'm going to go with a width of say 40%, and you'll see that that is now changed size just a little bit. So I'm going to copy that now and paste it in there. So if we have a look here, if the image is 40% wide, then on the flex here, I want to make this width 60%. If that's the final that we're going to be looking at. And but now you'll see that if we look here, you will see that this summary and this, it's still not working 100% the way we want, because there's still a gap between the two. So let's just have a look here, and you'll see here that it has this width reference here of 48%. So what I'm going to do is, if I then adjust this one with important, you'll see that it jumps to that. Now, it's not good form to use the important, because basically you're overwriting a class which is a higher priority than the one that you're looking at. So also what we're going to notice now is if I close all this and I go to the other pages on the website, so we kind of have the basic layout. I go back to my shop and I go and I have a look at one of the other products. You're going to notice that their formatting is also out now. So everything I'm doing is at a global level, and that's not going to be good. So what we want to do is only target the t-shirt. And to do that, what we want to do then is, if I go and have a look at the page, not the page source, if I go and have a look at the page, what I actually want to do is I want to add the product information to the body class. I want to make sure that I can have the category added there, so I can add that to my class and then only target this page. Now that's not done by default, so to do that we need to add another function, and that function will now just target the classes. So to do that, we're going to create a function, and let's call that add to single class under. Right, so now we're going to target the single class. Now, this is not an action, because what we're going to do is take the existing body class, we're going to filter the information, add our class, and then return that information again. So we need to look at using a filter here, and the filter that we're going to use is going to be the body class filter. So we say add filter, and we go body underscore class. So that's all we need to do now to target that class. And of course we need to copy the name of our function, pop it in there. Right, now we need to start doing some more interesting things. So to target that class, we need to target a variable that contains all the classes, and that variable is called classes. And then what we want to do is just target the product page. So we need to say if and is underscore product. So if it's a product, and in these brackets, you might even target a specific product. So if you put in a product ID, that would target then just one particular product, or you could put an array of IDs in there and then target just a couple. The next thing that we're going to do is access the global post variable, so we can get all the information related to that post, and that will allow us to get the terms. So now we can go terms equals get underscore the underscore terms, and what term do we want? So for each post, it's going to get the post ID. So when the post loads up, it gets the ID, and now it's going to check what terms, and what terms do we want? We want the product category. So get the product underscore cat. So there we get the product category. And now what we can do is get a list of those categories. So now what I need to do is get the slug for each of those. So to do that for each, and we're just going to go opening bracket for each terms as term. And now what we want to do is get the classes, because that's the variable that we're going to update, and that is going to be equal to term. Now, if we just leave it like this, it will run through, but it'll only remember the last category or term inside this product. So if we want to build up a list of all the classes, we need to collect the information as an array, and we do it like that. Now, the first category is added, second category, third category, fourth category, and then to update the class variable, we now return and classes. So we brought the information in, we added the category terms, and now we returning that value. So I'm just going to copy that and then save, and everything should be fine. And now when we head over to the website and refresh, we want to have a look and see, and immediately there in our list of terms now you'll see there we have t-shirt. So now everything that we do, we can prepend with the word t-shirt. Now I'm going to open up the customize again, and quite easily now I can go to the styles and just add the word t-shirt. So I'm just adding the word t-shirt in front of the styling that I'm adding, and that way now we're only targeting the t-shirt page. So if we go back to our website, and I'm going to go back to the shop, going to go back here to the album, and you'll see the album is displaying just fine, and you'll see the beanie is displaying as it should. And if I go back down here to my t-shirt, the polo t-shirt, you will see now that everything is styled the way that I want. And now it's just a case of creating some interesting ways of highlighting the content and getting some of the spacing right. So I can open up the customize window here, and also the inspect, so we can just target the classes. Right, so I think this center column needs a bit of padding, so I'm going to go to my center column wrap. So now I know I'm going to start with t-shirt, and then I can enter the class name. Right, and now I can just maybe go with some padding, and let's just add some padding all the way around of 15 pixels. T-shirt by center. Right, and then what I'm also going to do, if you want to see the styling in action, then what you can do is just add that here. Not that, we just want the column, sorry, the column. We'll add that. You'll see that the formatting here is not correct. It doesn't have class equals. So that points to an issue here. And you'll see that I didn't go class equals and then add the class name. So we're just going to do that. And then down here, we just need to class equals and add the class name like that. So now that we have that in place and I refresh, we can start targeting them properly. So what I'm going to do then is target that first column. So let's inspect here. Looks like I've added too many. No, everything is fine. I'm not sure why we... so, right, we have that column wrap, and over here now I can add padding, and that'll be 15 pixels, and you'll see that the padding is added. So let's copy that, and now I know to add -t -shirt, and then the class and the styling. So we're going to add the padding there, and then on the right hand column, let's close that, let's go here to the right hand column, we're going to add a border and make it a bit more interesting. So to do that, we'll first do it here, and then we'll just copy the class across. So here, and we'll just go border 1 pixel solid, and we'll just make it a light color. Then we'll give that a border radius of, let's just make it 10 pixels. Then we'll give it some padding of 15 pixels. And then we'll give it a box shadow, and we'll go 0 horizontal 5 pixels down, and give it a spread of 10 pixels. Okay, so there we've wrapped our right hand column quite nicely, and then it's just a case of copying your style, scrolling over, popping it into the customize window. Okay, so there we've done that, and also I think this title is way too big, and we can see that that's an H1 title. And to get rid of that, once again, we must always remember to target using t-shirt, so .t-shirt, and then in this case we're targeting the H1, and now we're just going to change the font size maybe to 30 pixels, and we'll just check that the font weight is at 400. Right, this is a bold font, so that should do it. And once you're happy with your styles, and I think we are, then what I'm going to do is just publish that. Once published, we'll just close that, refresh, and now you can see that that is starting to look a lot more like we would like it to look, except things are looking a little bit squashed here. I just want to see where that inverted comma is coming from, so I'm going to head over here, and immediately you will see here that I have an extra inverted comma there, and that's it. Right, so now we've targeted those changes, refresh. Right, now what we need to do is change the layout a bit. So this site is built with a theme builder or a builder called Oxygen, but I'm just going to show you with some CSS how to change a little bit more of the styling. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to change the page width so that on wider screens it's a little bit wider, and I can see that the inner content that I'm looking for would be this particular item, and it has a max width of 1120. So what I can do is maybe change that then, and maybe I'm going to go 1300 pixels, so that'll make it just a little bit wider. So then to target that, I can copy, customize, and head over here, and just right at the top I'm going to put in the width. Now you'll remember before we included these important statements, and we should be able to, still can't remove them, although we should be able to, because we're not We still need them. It's not the best though. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is just have a look at that page and see, maybe I want to make this image smaller because this middle section could maybe do with a bit more space. So quite quickly then, I know that that's the image section here. So I'm going to drop that down to 30%. Then what I'm going to do is head down to my column that wraps both of them. So that if that's 30%, then I can push this up to 70%. And then what I can also do now is my individual columns I can target as well. So the what I can do here is put in a width on that one now of maybe 60%. And immediately you can see it pushes it out, and that's starting to look a lot nicer. So publish that, hide that. So yeah, I think that's heading in the direction of the kind of look that we want. And also, let me just we're already in the screen. Yeah, that's the look that we want. And then over here, just to remember to go t-shirt as well, and then also t-shirt on all the items after the commas, so that they are also targeted. So there we have our page, and I need to do that here for the that's just one. Make sure everything is targeted. Right, now we want to have a look and see. I think we're quite happy with that layout. Yeah, that looks pretty good. If you want to, maybe we want to make, you can start fine-tuning the way that you'd like it. Maybe you think, no, that image is now a bit small, so maybe 35%, and then we drop the next column to 65%. So maybe the slightly bigger image is what you want. The other thing that we want to do is, this is really clashing here. We don't want both of these items wrapped like that. So what I'm going to do is get the class for this particular item, and you'll see the class there is the title wrap. Let's just add that here. And what I want to do is get rid of the box shadow. So box-shadow, we want to unset that. So we'll unset the shadow, and I think that's all I'm going to do to that. I think that looks fine. Right, so we'll add that in over here. What am I doing? And we'll just say box-shadow unset, right? Yeah, and I think that's starting to look really nice. If we look at that full page, yeah, so it's nice. We've got the product information, but you're drawn here, your mouse to have a look, make your selection. Once you've made your selection, and then add to your basket. So this is a good way to pull the customer's eye to the area where you want them to do an action, and that is to simply highlight it in this way or something similar. Now what we need to do is check it for mobile. So let's publish that. And to check mobile, there are two ways of doing it, but the easiest here might just be to check the mobile, and you'll see that everything is all over the show, and that's perfectly expected. So now what we do is we just target that screen width. So max-width 768 pixels. That's a good estimate for mobile. And now what we want to do is, what we do know straight off the bat is we know that these columns that we created, we want to give that column a width of 100% because they are inside the right hand column. So we want to make that width 100%, and I also want to target the right column, and I want to make that 100% as well. So let's head down here, comma, and we target that as well. So if I scroll down, we've made them, but the flex direction is still in the wrong direction. So we're going to go up here to this summary, because we know that's the right-hand column. And we're just going to pop that in here. And that width now we're going to make 100. And the flex direction we need to change. So flex, and we want to make that column. Right. So now if we have a look, you'll see that we have the title, the rating, the price. We actually want to include the price here. So we're going to have a look now about how to just move this up or move the price, probably move the price down a bit. Maybe we're going to drop the price here to the add me to your cart. So we'll have a look at that. And what we also want to do is adjust the images. So to adjust the images, I'm going to just copy that over. And we also want that to be 100% wide. So I'm going to paste that in there. Except that I'm not going to paste in everything. So there we have it added. So we have the image. Then we have the title. And we're going to publish that. I can close that now because I know that it's working. And there we have our page. And let's check the mobile view. And the mobile view, scroll down, we have the image, the description. That's all working. And I see that that is back on the mobile view, so we can target that. It's back on the other view as well. I must have deleted that. So I didn't save that. Let me just, let's do that, customize. And then what we're going to do is just move this price. So let's just have a look. That was to unset the, so that was the title wrap, and that was just box dash shadow. That was the unset. I didn't put in the full. Okay, there we have it. So now it's saved correctly, and that's looking good. Now what we want to do is move the price. Okay, so the price is over here, and now I want to move it down there. And I think this is actually from a previous hook that I've used. So what we're going to do then is, let's have a look and see. So we're going to have a look here at the price. So the let's have a look here. Add to cart, and there we have the single price. So the single price would normally appear before the excerpt, and here we have it after the excerpt. That tells me that this has been targeted by a different action. So what I want to do is remove the action here. Remove the action, single price, but now we need to know where that single price was put. So I'm going to go back to some of my other, let's go back here to all snippets, and I'm going to go back to my other page of single snippets. Right. And just see where that is. So if I have a look here, there's the price there. So I've got it in here. So now because I want to use or change that action, I'm going to pop that in here and remove the action. I'm going to remove that action, and then I'm going to add this action and just leave it in the standard position. Okay. And then we'll save those changes, and that should then move the price over to perhaps a better spot. That didn't. I'm going to remove this action as well and just see. That was, it is in the normal place. Okay, so that is the single price. That is in the normal place. Sorry, my mistake. And I actually want to move that to, let's have a look, the price. It should be after the variation. So I'm still not targeting the right one. So just have a look here. Otherwise, if we have a look here, you'll see it's before we have the variations, then we have the price, we have the in stock, and then we have the add to cart. So theoretically, this should be appearing here. So what I'm going to do is target that in a different way and just target the before to cart. So we scroll down here and we're just going to look for the let's just see, add to cart, before the add to cart button. So you'll see that WooCommerce single product summary. Well, let's add it just before the button instead of in the summary. Otherwise, the other way to test here, we could just change that to a 25. Save the changes and have a look. And that should move the price around. Right, so we've moved the price there, but I actually wanted, well, now you have a choice. You can either leave your price up here. So you see the name, you see the price, you make your choice, you add it to your cart. Maybe that's not a bad suggestion. If I wanted to move that down a little bit, I could target it right here, just above the add to cart button. And to do that, I would copy that add to cart, head over here to my snippet, and now we're going to put that in like that. And now I'm going to make that a 5. Right. We'll save those changes. And now when we refresh, you'll see that that has been moved, or should be moved. Yeah, and that's not great because the formatting is not so good. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just go back to the previous, pop that in here, and let's move that priority up to 28 and see where that puts it. And we need to change the summary. And now when we refresh, yeah, that's not gonna, if we wanted to move it in here, we could move it in there, but then we'd have to address the styling because it then hooks into the let's try the before add to cart. Yeah, we ideally wanted it here before the add to cart button, but that creates a styling issue because then it's included in the styling for that button, and then we'd have to add more CSS. So by adding it here, one option here would be simply to target the price. Maybe what we would do there then is just we could look at the font size, and that will either be addressed here or in the next class. So let's just have a look. No, and we'll see there's a reference here to the WooCommerce price amount. So we'll just copy that. Let's add a new class, and then we can font 20 pixels. It's not changing the actual size there. Let's just have a look. So the BDI does target the size, and let's we probably just have that's the symbol. color red. Line height 1. So we could do something along those lines. And then, of course, we just want to target the t-shirt page. So customize. And once again, we're going to look at .t-shirt and paste that in. And there we have just standing out a little bit more. So when somebody arrives on the page and they're not sure what to do, immediately they get drawn. There's the price. There's my options. As soon as I've selected something, I can now add to cart. That's pretty much then how you can change your layout to a 3-column layout, which can be much nicer for the customer and easier for them to make a purchase. And then also, if we look at it in this mobile view and scroll down, you have the image, you have the product information, and then the call to action is in this block. So it kind of draws you there to do something in this space. So there's no doubt as to where to make the purchase. So that's how you can convert your layout and on a specific product category to a 3-column layout, and then just to check that everything else is still working as it should. The beanie layout is looking fine, and then the standard layout is also unaffected by the changes I made. So that's how you can change the layout then to a 3-column layout. So I hope you find that useful. Thank you for watching.